Hey everyone. Welcome to my channel. And for today's video I wanted to show you and introduce to you my homeland. Suriname. Suriname is a small country on the northeastern coast of South America. It's defined by vast swaths of tropical rainforest, Dutch colonial architecture and a melting pot culture. On its Atlantic coast is the capital, Paramaribo, where palm gardens grow near Fort Zeelandia, a 17th-century trading post. Paramaribo is also home to St. Peter and Paul Basilica, a towering wood cathedral consecrated in 1885. The name Suriname may derive from an indigenous people called Suriname, who inhabited the area at the time of European contact. It may also be derived from a corruption of the name, Suriname, which was the name given to the Suriname River by Lord Willoughby in honor of the Earl of Surrey when an English colony was established under a grant from King Charles II. British settlers, who founded the first European colony at Marshall's Creek along the Suriname River, spelled the name as Suriname. When the territory was taken over by the Dutch, it became part of a group of colonies known as Dutch Guiana. The official spelling of the country's English name was changed from Suriname to Suriname in January 1978, but Suriname can still be found in English. A notable example is Suriname's national airline, Suriname Airways. The older English name is reflected in the English pronunciation, Suriname, NM. In Dutch, the official language of Suriname, the pronunciation is Suriname, with the main stress on the third syllable and a schwa terminal vowel. Politics of Suriname. The Republic of Suriname is a representative democratic republic, based on the Constitution of 1987. The legislative branch of government consists of a 51-member unicameral National Assembly, simultaneously and popularly elected for a 5-year term. In the elections held on Tuesday 25 May 2010, the Megacombinati won 23 of the National Assembly seats, followed by Nationale Front with 20 seats. A much smaller number, important for coalition building, went to the Combinati, and to the Volksalliantie. The parties held negotiations to form coalitions. Elections were held on 25 May 2015, and the National Assembly again elected Desire Bouters as president. The President of Suriname is elected for a 5-year term by a 2/3 majority of the National Assembly. If at least 2/3 of the National Assembly cannot agree to vote for one presidential candidate, a People's Assembly is formed from all National Assembly delegates and regional and municipal representatives who were elected by popular vote in the most recent national election. The president may be elected by a majority of the People's Assembly called for the special election. As head of government, the president appoints a 16-minister cabinet. A vice president is normally elected for a 5-year term at the same time as the president, by a simple majority in the National Assembly or People's Assembly. There is no constitutional provision for removal or replacement of the president, except in the case of resignation. The judiciary is headed by the High Court of Justice of Suriname, Supreme Court. This court supervises the magistrate courts. Members are appointed for life by the president in consultation with the National Assembly, the State Advisory Council, and the National Order of Private Attorneys. Foreign relations of Suriname. President Desire Bouters was convicted and sentenced in the Netherlands to 11 years of imprisonment for drug trafficking. He is the main suspect in the court case concerning the December murders, the 1982 assassination of opponents of military rule in Fort Zeelandia, Paramaribo. These two cases still strain relations between the Netherlands and Suriname. Due to Suriname's Dutch colonial history, Suriname had a long-standing special relationship with the Netherlands. The Dutch government has stated that it will only maintain limited contact with the president. Bouters was elected as president of Suriname in 2010. The Netherlands in July 2014 dropped Suriname as a member of its development program. Since 1991, the United States has maintained positive relations with Suriname. The two countries work together through the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, CBSI, and the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR. Suriname also receives military funding from the U.S. Department of Defense. 43. European Union relations and cooperation with Suriname are carried out both on a bilateral and a regional basis. There are ongoing EU Community of Latin American and Caribbean States (CELAC) and EU CARIFORUM dialogues. Suriname is party to the Cotonou Agreement, the partnership agreement among the members of the African, Caribbean and Pacific Group of States and the European Union. On 17 February 2005, the leaders of Barbados and Suriname signed the Agreement for the Deepening of Bilateral Cooperation between the Government of Barbados and the Government of the Republic of Suriname. On 23 to 24 April 2009, both nations formed a joint commission in Paramaribo, Suriname, to improve relations and to expand into various areas of cooperation. They held a second meeting toward this goal on 3 to 4 March 2011, in Dover, Barbados. Their representatives reviewed issues of agriculture, trade, investment, as well as international transport. In the late 2000s, Suriname intensified development cooperation with other developing countries. China's South-South cooperation with Suriname has included a number of large-scale infrastructure projects, including port rehabilitation and road construction. Brazil signed agreements to cooperate with Suriname in education, health, agriculture, and energy production. Military of Suriname. The Armed Forces of Suriname have three branches: the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. The President of the Republic, Chan Santoki, is the Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Opper-Bevel-Heber van de Strijdkrachten. The President is assisted by the Minister of Defense. Beneath the President and Minister of Defense is the Commander of the Armed Forces, Bevel-Heber van de Strijdkrachten. The military branches and regional military commands report to the Commander. After the creation of the Statute of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the Royal Netherlands Army was entrusted with the defense of Suriname, while the defense of the Netherlands Antilles was the responsibility of the Royal Netherlands Navy. The Army set up a separate Troepenmacht in Suriname, Forces in Suriname, TRIS. Upon independence in 1975, this force was turned into the Suriname's Krijgsmacht, SKM, Surinamese Armed Forces. On 25 February 1980, a group of 15 non-commissioned officers and one junior SKM officer, under the leadership of Sergeant Major de Z. Bouters, overthrew the government. Subsequently, the SKM was rebranded as Nationale Leger, NL, National Army. In 1965, the Dutch and Americans used Suriname's Coroni site for multiple Nike Apache-sounding rocket launches. Geography Main article, Geography of Suriname. Brokopondo Reservoir surrounded by tropical rainforest. The Kopname River, one of many rivers in the interior. Leatherback sea turtle on the beach near the village of Galibi. Suriname is the smallest independent country in South America. Situated on the Guiana Shield, it lies mostly between latitudes 1 degree and 6 degrees north, and longitudes 54 degrees and 58 degrees west. The country can be divided into two main geographic regions. The northern, lowland coastal area, roughly above the line Albina-Paranam-Wageningen, has been cultivated, and most of the population lives here. The southern part consists of tropical rainforest and sparsely inhabited savanna along the border with Brazil, covering about 80% of Suriname's land surface. The two main mountain ranges are the Bakuis Mountains and the Van Asch-Van Veek Mountains. Julianatop is the highest mountain in the country at 1,286 meters, 4,219 feet, above sea level. Other mountains include Tafelberg at 1,026 meters, 3,366 feet, Mount Kasikasima at 718 meters, 2,356 feet, Goliathberg at 358 meters, 1,175 feet, and Voltsberg at 240 meters, 790 feet. Suriname's forest cover is 90.2%, the highest of any nation in the world. Borders of Suriname. Disputed areas shown on the map of Suriname, left and right. Gray areas. Suriname is situated between French Guiana to the east and Guyana to the west. The southern border is shared with Brazil and the northern border is the Atlantic coast. The southernmost borders with French Guiana and Guyana are disputed by these countries along the Morovena and Corantine rivers, respectively, while a part of the disputed maritime boundary with Guyana was arbitrated by a tribunal convened under the rules set out in Annex 7 of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea on 20 September 2007. 51-52. Climate. Suriname map of Köppen climate classification. Lying 2 to 5 degrees north of the equator, Suriname has a very hot and wet tropical climate, and temperatures do not vary much throughout the year. Average relative humidity is between 80% and 90%. Its average temperature ranges from 29 to 34 degrees Celsius, 84 to 93 degrees Fahrenheit. Due to the high humidity, actual temperatures are distorted and may therefore feel up to 6 degrees Celsius, 11 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than the recorded temperature. The year has 2 wet seasons, from April to August and from November to February. It also has 2 dry seasons, from August to November and February to April. Climate change. This section is an excerpt from Climate Change in Suriname. Edit. Suriname is already seeing the effects of climate change, including warming temperatures and more extreme weather events. As a relatively poor country, its contributions to climate change have been limited. Moreover, because of the large forest cover, the country has been running a carbon-negative economy since 2014. Suriname was the second country to update its nationally determined contributions in 2020. Nature reserves. Located in the upper Kopname River watershed, the Central Suriname Nature Reserve has been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its unspoiled forests and biodiversity. There are many national parks in the country, including Galipi National Reserve along the coast, Brownsburg Nature Park and Eilerts de Haan Nature Park in central Suriname, and the Sipalivani Nature Reserve on the Brazilian border. In all, 16% of the country's land area is national parks and lakes, according to the UNEP World Conservation Monitoring Center. Economy of Suriname. Suriname exports, 2012, including artificial corundum. Suriname's democracy gained some strength after the turbulent 1990s, and its economy became more diversified and less dependent on Dutch financial assistance. Bauxite, aluminium ore mining used to be a strong revenue source. The discovery and exploitation of oil and gold has added substantially to Suriname's economic independence. Agriculture, especially rice and bananas, remains a strong component of the economy, and ecotourism is providing new economic opportunities. More than 80% of Suriname's land mass consists of unspoiled rain forest. With the establishment of the Central Suriname Nature Reserve in 1998, Suriname signaled its commitment to conservation of this precious resource. The Central Suriname Nature Reserve became a World Heritage Site in 2000. Ministry of Finance. The economy of Suriname was dominated by the bauxite industry, which accounted for more than 15% of GDP and 70% of export earnings up to 2016. Other main export products include rice, bananas and shrimp. Suriname has recently started exploiting some of its sizable oil, 56, and gold, 57, reserves. About a quarter of the people work in the agricultural sector. The Surinamese economy is very dependent on commerce, its main trade partners being the Netherlands, the United States, Canada, and Caribbean countries, mainly Trinidad and Tobago and the islands of the former Netherlands Antilles. 58. After assuming power in the fall of 1996, the Weidenbosch government ended the structural adjustment program of the previous government, claiming it was unfair to the poorer elements of society. Tax revenues fell as old taxes lapsed and the government failed to implement new tax alternatives. By the end of 1997, the allocation of new Dutch development funds was frozen as Surinamese government relations with the Netherlands deteriorated. Economic growth slowed in 1998, with decline in the mining, construction, and utility sectors. Rampant government expenditures, poor tax collection, a bloated civil service, and reduced foreign aid in 1999 contributed to the fiscal deficit, estimated at 11% of GDP. The government sought to cover this deficit through monetary expansion, which led to a dramatic increase in inflation. It takes longer on average to register a new business in Suriname than virtually any other country in the world, 694 days or about 99 weeks. 59. GDP 2010 est. US $4.794 billion. Annual growth rate real GDP 2010 est. 3.5%. Per capita GDP 2010 est. US $9,900. Inflation 2007, 6.4%. Natural resources: bauxite, gold, oil, iron ore, other minerals, forests, hydroelectric potential, fish and shrimp. Agriculture: products, rice, bananas, timber, palm kernels, coconuts, peanuts. Citrus fruits, and forest products. Industry: types, alumina, oil, gold, fish, shrimp, lumber. Trade: Exports 2012 $2.563 billion, alumina, gold, crude oil, lumber, shrimp and fish, rice, bananas. Major consumers: US 26.1%, Belgium 17.6%, UAE 12.1%, Canada 10.4%, Guyana 6.5%, France 5.6%, Barbados 4.7%. 13. Imports 2012 $1.782 billion, capital equipment, petroleum, foodstuffs, cotton, consumer goods. Major suppliers: US 25.8%, Netherlands 15.8%, China 9.8%, UAE 7.9%, Antigua and Barbuda 7.3%, Netherlands Antilles 5.4%, Japan 4.2%. 13. Demographics of Suriname and Surinamese people. The population of Suriname from 1961 to 2003, in units of 1,000. The slowdown and decline in population growth till 1969 to 1985 reflects a mass migration to the Netherlands and French Guiana. According to the 2012 census, Suriname had a population of 541,638 inhabitants. 5. The Surinamese populace is characterized by its high level of diversity, wherein no particular demographic group constitutes a majority. This is a legacy of centuries of Dutch rule, which entailed successive periods of forced, contracted, or voluntary migration by various nationalities and ethnic groups from around the world. The largest ethnic group are the Afro-Surinamese, which form about 37% of the population, and are usually divided into two groups, the Creoles and the Maroons. Surinamese Maroons, whose ancestors are mostly runaway slaves that fled to the interior, comprise 21.7% of the population. They are divided into six main groups: Induka, Akans, Saramakans, Paramakans, Quinti, Aluku, Boni, and Matawe. Surinamese Creoles, mixed people descending from African slaves and mostly Dutch Europeans, form 15.7% of the population. East Indians, who form 27% of the population, are the second largest group. They are descendants of 19th-century contract workers from India, hailing mostly from the modern Indian states of Bihar, Jharkhand, and eastern Uttar Pradesh along the Nepali border. Javanese make up 14% of the population, and like the East Indians, descend largely from workers contracted from the island of Java in the former Dutch East Indies, modern Indonesia. 13.4% of the population identifies as being of mixed ethnic heritage. Other sizable groups include the Chinese, originating from 19th-century contract workers and some recent migration, who number over 40,000 as of 2011, Lebanese, primarily Maronites, Jews of Sephardic and Ashkenazi origin, whose center of population was the community of Joden Savan, and Brazilians, many of them laborers mining for gold. 61. A small but influential number of Europeans remain in the country, comprising about 1% of the population. They are descended mostly from Dutch 19th-century immigrant farmers, known as Boros, derived from Boer, the Dutch word for farmer, and to a lesser degree other European groups, such as Portuguese from Madeira. Many Boros left after independence in 1975. Various indigenous peoples make up 3.7% of the population, with the main groups being the Akurio, Arawak, Kalina, Caribs, Tirio and Wayana. They live mainly in the districts of Paramaribo, Wanaka, Para, Morovena and Sipaliwini. Citation needed. The vast majority of Suriname's inhabitants, about 90%, live in Paramaribo or on the coast. Emigration. Immigrants from India. The choice of becoming Surinamese or Dutch citizens in the years leading up to Suriname's independence in 1975 led to a mass migration to the Netherlands. This migration continued in the period immediately after independence and during military rule in the 1980s, and for largely economic reasons extended throughout the 1990s. The Surinamese community in the Netherlands numbered 350,300 as of 2013, including children and grandchildren of Suriname migrants born in the Netherlands. This is compared to approximately 566,013 Surinamese in Suriname itself. According to the International Organization for Migration, around 272,600 people from Suriname lived in other countries in the late 2010s, in particular in the Netherlands ca 192,000, the French Republic ca 25,000, most of them in French Guiana. Note 2, the United States, ca 15,000, Guyana, ca 5,000, Aruba, ca 1,500, and Canada, ca 1,000. 62. Religion in Suriname. Religion in Suriname. 2012 7 Religion percent Christianity 48.4%, Hinduism 22.3%, Islam 13.9%, other religions 4.7%, unaffiliated 10.7%. Synagogue and mosque adjacent to each other in Paramaribo. Suriname's religious makeup is heterogeneous and reflective of the country's multicultural character. According to the 2012 census, 48.4% were Christians, 26.7% of Surinamese were Protestants, 11.18% Pentecostal, 11.16% Moravian, and 4.4% of various other Protestant denominations, and 21.6% were Catholics. Hindus formed the second largest religious group in Suriname, comprising 22.3% of the population, the third largest proportion of any country in the Western Hemisphere after Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, both of which also have large proportions of Indians. Almost all practitioners of Hinduism are found among the Indo-Surinamese population. Muslims constitute 13.9% of the population, the highest proportion of Muslims in the Americas. They are largely of Javanese or Indian descent. Other religious groups include Winti 1.8%, and Afro-American religion practiced mostly by those of Maroon ancestry, Javanism 0.8%, a syncretic faith found among some Javanese Surinamese, and various indigenous folk traditions that are often incorporated into one of the larger religions, usually Christianity. In the 2012 census, 7.5% of the population declared they had no religion, while a further 3.2% left the question unanswered. 7. Languages. Butcher market in Paramaribo with signs written in Dutch. Dutch is the sole official language, and is the language of education, government, business, and the media. 13 Over 60% of the population speaks Dutch as a mother tongue, 63 and most of the rest speaks it as a second language. In 2004, Suriname became an associate member of the Dutch Language Union. 64 It is the only Dutch-speaking country in South America as well as the only independent nation in the Americas where Dutch is spoken by a majority of the population, and one of the two non-Romance-speaking countries in South America, the other being English-speaking Guyana. In Paramaribo, Dutch is the main home language in 2/3 of the households. 4. The recognition of Suriname's Nederlands, Surinamese Dutch, as a national dialect equal to Nederlands Nederlands, Dutch Dutch, and Vlaams Nederlands, Flemish Dutch, was expressed in 2009 by the publication of the Woordenboek Surinaams Nederlands Surinamese Dutch Dictionary. 65 It is the most commonly spoken language in urban areas. Only in the interior of Suriname, namely parts of Sipaliwini and Brokopondo, is Dutch seldom spoken. Sranan Tongo, a local Creole language originally spoken by the Creole population group, is the most widely used vernacular language in day-to-day life and business. It and Dutch are considered to be the two principal languages of Surinamese diglossia. Both are further influenced by other spoken languages which are spoken primarily within ethnic communities. Sranan Tongo is often used interchangeably with Dutch depending on the formality of the setting, where Dutch is seen as a prestige dialect and Sranan Tongo the common vernacular. 66. Caribbean Hindustani or Sarnami, a dialect of Bhojpuri, is the fourth most used language after English spoken by the descendants of South Asian contract workers from then British India. The Javanese language is used by the descendants of Javanese contract workers, and is common in Suriname. The Maroon languages, somewhat intelligible with Sranan, include Saramaka, Paramakan, Induka, also called Aukan, Quinti and Matawi. Amerindian languages, spoken by Amerindians, include Carib and Arawak. Hakka and Cantonese are spoken by the descendants of the Chinese contract workers. Mandarin is spoken by some few recent Chinese immigrants. English, Spanish, and Portuguese are also used as second languages. Largest cities. The national capital, Paramaribo, is by far the dominant urban area, accounting for nearly half of Suriname's population and most of its urban residents. Indeed, its population is greater than the next 9 largest cities combined. Most municipalities are located within the capital's metropolitan area, or along the densely populated coastline. Culture. Main article, Culture of Suriname. See also Roman Catholicism in Suriname, music of Suriname, and Hinduism in South America. Owing to the country's multicultural heritage, Suriname celebrates a variety of distinct ethnic and religious festivals. National holidays: the 1st of January, New Year's Day the 6th of January, Three Kings Day January, World Religion Day January, February, Chinese New Year the 25th of February, Day of the Revolution March, varies, Holy March, April, Good Friday March, April, Easter the 1st of May, Labor Day May, June, Ascension Day the 5th of June, Indian Arrival Day the 1st of July, Keti Koti Emancipation Day, End of Slavery the 8th of August, Javanese Arrival Day the 9th of August, Indigenous Peoples Day the 10th of October, Day of the Maroons the 20th of October, Chinese Arrival Day October-November, Diwali the 25th of November, Independence Day the 25th of December, Christmas the 26th of December, Boxing Day varies, Eid ul-Adha. There are several Hindu and Islamic national holidays like Diwali, Deepavali, Pagwa and Eid ul-Fitr and Eid ul-Adha. These holidays do not have fixed dates on the Gregorian calendar, as they are based on the Hindu and Islamic calendars, respectively. As of 2020, Eid ul-Adha is a national holiday, and equal to a Sunday. 68. There are several holidays which are unique to Suriname. These include the Indian, Javanese and Chinese arrival days. They celebrate the arrival of the first ships with their respective immigrants. New Year's Eve. Pagera, red firecracker ribbons. New Year's Eve in Suriname is called Oud Jaar, Oruyari, or Old Year. It is during this period that the Surinamese population goes to the city's commercial district to watch demonstrational fireworks. The bigger stores invest in these firecrackers and display them out in the streets. Every year the length of them is compared, and high praises are given for the company that has imported the largest ribbon. These celebrations start at 10 in the morning and finish the next day. The day is usually filled with laughter, dance, music, and drinking. When the night starts, the big street parties are already at full capacity. The most popular fiesta is the one that is held at Café Vat in the main tourist district. The parties there stop between 10 and 11 at night, after which people go home to light their pageras, red firecracker ribbons, at midnight. After 12, the parties continue and the streets fill again until daybreak. 69. Sports. The major sports in Suriname are football, basketball, and volleyball. The Suriname Olympic Committee is the national governing body for sports in Suriname. The major mind sports are chess, drafts, bridge and trofcall. Many Suriname-born football players and Dutch-born football players of Surinamese descent, like Gerald Vandenberg, Ruud Gullit, Frank Rijkaard, Edgar Davids, Clarence Seedorf, Patrick Kluivert, Aaron Winter, Jorginho Wijnaldum, Virgil van Dijk and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink have turned out to play for the Dutch national team. In 1999, Humphrey Mynels, who played for both Suriname and the Netherlands, was elected Surinamese Footballer of the Century. 70. Another famous player is André Kamperveen, who captained Suriname in the 1940s and was the first Surinamese to play professionally in the Netherlands. The most famous international track and field athlete from Suriname is Letitia Vriesde, who won a silver medal at the 1995 World Championships behind Anna Kiro in the 800 meters, the first medal won by a South American female athlete in World Championship competition. In addition, she also won a bronze medal at the 2001 World Championships and won several medals in the 800 and 1,500 meters at the Pan American Games and Central American and Caribbean Games. Tommy Asinga also received acclaim for winning a bronze medal in the 800 meters at the 1991 Pan American Games. Swimmer Anthony Nesty is the only Olympic medalist for Suriname. He won gold in the 100-meter butterfly at the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul and he won bronze in the same discipline at the 1992 Summer Olympics in Barcelona. Originally from Trinidad and Tobago, he now lives in Gainesville, Florida, and is the coach of the University of Florida, mainly coaching distance swimmers. Cricket is popular in Suriname to some extent, influenced by its popularity in the Netherlands and in neighboring Guyana. The Suriname's Cricket Bond is an associate member of the International Cricket Council (ICC). Suriname and Argentina are the only ICC associates in South America, although Guyana is represented on the West Indies Cricket Board, a full member. The national cricket team was ranked 47th in the world and 6th in the ICC Americas region as of June 2014, and competes in the World Cricket League (WCL) and ICC Americas Championship. Iris Jarup, born in Paramaribo, played women's one-day international matches for the Dutch national side, the only Surinamese to do so. 71. In the sport of badminton, the local heroes are Virgil Sororejo and Mitchell Wong Sodi Chromo, and also Crystal Leafmans. All winning medals for Suriname at the Carabaco Caribbean Championships, the Central American and Caribbean Games, CACSO Games 72, and also at the South American Games, better known as the ODESUR Games. Virgil Sororejo also participated for Suriname at the 2012 London Summer Olympics, only the second badminton player, after Oscar Brandon, for Suriname to achieve this. 73. Current national champion Soren Opti was the third Surinamese badminton player to participate at the Summer Olympics in 2016. Multiple-time K1 kickboxing world champions Ernesto Hoost and Remy Bonjowski were born in Suriname or are of Surinamese descent. Other kickboxing world champions include Rayan Simpson, Melvin Manhoef, Tyrone Spong and Regan Eersel. Suriname also has a national korfbal team, with korfbal being a Dutch sport. Vinkensport is also practiced. Transportation. See also, transport in Suriname, Desiree Delano Booters Highway, and East-West Link. Suriname, along with neighboring Guyana, is one of only two countries on the mainland South American continent that drive on the left, although many vehicles are left-hand drive as well as right-hand drive. 74. One explanation for this practice is that at the time of its colonization of Suriname, the Netherlands itself used left-hand traffic, also introducing the practice in the Dutch East Indies, now Indonesia. 75. Another is that Suriname was first colonized by the British, and for practical reasons, this was not changed when it came under Dutch administration. 76. Although the Netherlands converted to driving to the right at the end of the 18th century, 75. Suriname did not. Airlines with departures from Suriname. Blue Wing Airlines, Gum Air fly all ways, Suriname Airways, SLM, airlines with arrivals in Suriname. Caribbean Airlines, Trinidad and Tobago, Insel Air, Curaçao, KLM, Netherlands, Gold Transportes Aéreos, Brazil, Copa Airlines, Panama, TUI, Netherlands, Fly All Ways, Curaçao, Cuba, Havana, Santiago de Cuba, Suriname Airways, SLM, Aruba, Brazil, Belém, Curaçao, Guyana, Georgetown, Netherlands, Amsterdam, Trinidad and Tobago, Port of Spain, and USA, Miami. Other national companies with an air operator certification. Aero Club Suriname, AX, General Aviation Aero Club Corony Aero Farmers, CAF, Agriculture Cropdusting Eagle Air Services, EAS, Agriculture Cropdusting ERK Farms, ERK, Agriculture Cropdusting Overeem Air Service, OS, General Aviation Charters Pegasus Air Service, PA, Helicopter Charters Suriname Air Force, Suriname's Luchtmacht, SAF, LUMA, Military Aviation Suriname Air Force Suriname Sky Farmers, SSF, Agriculture Cropdusting Suriname's Medisch Zendingsvliegdienst, MAF. Mission Aviation Fellowship, General Aviation Missionary Vortex Aviation Suriname, VAS, General Aviation Maintenance and Flight School Health. Main article. Health in Suriname. The Global Burden of Disease Study provides an online data source for analyzing updated estimates of health for 359 diseases and injuries and 84 risk factors from 1990 to 2017 in most of the world's countries. 77. Comparing Suriname with other Caribbean nations show that in 2017 the age-standardized death rate for all causes was 793, males 969, females 641, per 100,000, far below the 1219 of Haiti, somewhat below the 944 of Guyana but considerably above the 424 of Bermuda. In 1990 the death rate was 960 per 100,000. Life expectancy in 2017 was 72 years, males 69, females 75. The death rate for children less than 5 years was 581 per 100,000 compared to 1308 in Haiti and 102 in Bermuda. In 1990 and 2017, leading causes of age-standardized death rates were cardiovascular disease, cancer and diabetes, chronic kidney disease. Education. Main article. Education in Suriname. Education in Suriname is compulsory until the age of 12, 78, and the nation had a net primary enrollment rate of 94% in 2004. 79. Literacy is very common, particularly among men. 79. The main university in the country is the Anton de Kom University of Suriname. From elementary school to high school there are 13 grades. The elementary school has 6 grades, middle school 4 grades and high school 3 grades. Students take a test in the end of elementary school to determine whether they will go to the MULO, secondary modern school, or a middle school of lower standards like LBO. Students from the elementary school wear a green shirt with jeans, while middle school students wear a blue shirt with jeans. Students going from the second grade of middle school to the third grade have to choose between the business or science courses. This will determine what their major subjects will be. In order to go on to study math and physics, the student must have a total of 12 points. If the student has fewer points, he/she will go into the business courses or fail the grade. Citation needed. Biodiversity. The blue poison dart frog is endemic to Suriname. Main article: Biodiversity in Suriname. Due to the variety of habitats and temperatures, biodiversity in Suriname is considered high. In October 2013, 16 international scientists researching the ecosystems during a 3-week expedition in Suriname's Upper Palumayu River watershed catalogued 1,378 species and found 60, including 6 frogs, 1 snake, and 11 fish, that may be previously unknown species. 81, 82, 83, 84, according to the environmental nonprofit Conservation International, which funded the expedition. Suriname's ample supply of fresh water is vital to the biodiversity and healthy ecosystems of the region. 85. Snakewood, Brosimum guanense, a shrub-like tree, is native to this tropical region of the Americas. Customs in Suriname report that snakewood is often illegally exported to French Guiana, thought to be for the crafts industry. 86. Environmental preservation. On the 21st of March 2013, Suriname's REDD+ Readiness Preparation Proposal, RPP 2013, was approved by the member countries of the Participants Committee of the Forest Carbon Partnership Facility (FCPF). 87. As in other parts of Central and South America, indigenous communities have increased their activism to protect their lands and preserve habitat. In March 2015, the Trio and Wayana communities presented a declaration of cooperation to the National Assembly of Suriname that announces an indigenous conservation corridor spanning 72,000 square kilometers (27,799 square miles) of southern Suriname. The declaration, led by these indigenous communities and with the support of Conservation International (C) and World Wildlife Fund (WWF) Guianas, comprises almost half of the total area of Suriname. 88. This area includes large forests and is considered essential for the country's climate resilience, freshwater security, and green development strategy. 88. Media. Traditionally, De Ware Tide was the major newspaper of the country, but since the 90s Times of Suriname, De West and Dagblad Suriname have also been well-read newspapers, all published primarily in Dutch. 89. Suriname has 24 radio stations, most of them also broadcast through the Internet. There are 12 television sources: ABC ch. 4-1, 2 RBN ch. 5-1, 2 Rasanek TV ch. 7 STVS ch. 8-1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Apen T ch. 10-1 ATV ch. 12-1, 2, 3, 4 Radika ch. 14 SCCN ch. 17-1, 2, 3 People TV ch. 18-1, 2 Trishul ch. 20-1, 2, 3, 4 Garuda ch. 23-1, 2, 3 Sangeetmala ch. 26 ch. 30 ch. 31 ch.32 ch.38 SCTV ch. 45. Also listened to is Mart, a broadcaster from Amsterdam founded by people from Suriname. Kondramen is one of the popular cartoons in Suriname. There are also 3 major news sites: Star News, Suriname Herald and GFC News. In 2012, Suriname was ranked joint 22nd with Japan in the Worldwide Press Freedom Index by the organization Reporters Without Borders. 90. This was ahead of the US 47th, the UK 28th, and France 38th. Tourism. Central Suriname Nature Reserve seen from the Voltsberg. Most tourists visit Suriname for the biodiversity of the Amazonian rainforests in the south of the country, which are noted for their flora and fauna. The Central Suriname Nature Reserve is the biggest and one of the most popular reserves, along with the Brownsburg Nature Park, which overlooks the Brokopondo Reservoir, one of the largest man-made lakes in the world. In 2008, the Berg and Dal Eco and Cultural Resort opened in Brokopondo. 91 Tonka Island in the reservoir is home to a rustic eco-tourism project run by the Saramaccaner Maroons. 92 Pangi wraps and bowls made of calabashes are the two main products manufactured for tourists. The Maroons have learned that colorful and ornate pangas are popular with tourists. 93 Other popular decorative souvenirs are hand-carved purple hardwood made into bowls, plates, canes, wooden boxes, and wall decors. There are also many waterfalls throughout the country. Raleighvallen, or Raleigh Falls, is a 56,000-hectare, 140,000-acre nature reserve on the Kopname River, rich in bird life. Also are the Blanche Marie Falls on the Nickerie River and the Wanatobo Falls. Tafelberg Mountain in the center of the country is surrounded by its own reserve, the Tafelberg Nature Reserve, around the source of the Saramacca River, as is the Voltsberg Nature Reserve further north on the Kopname River at Raleighvallen. In the interior are many Maroon and Amerindian villages, many of which have their own reserves that are generally open to visitors. Suriname is one of the few countries in the world where at least one of each biome that the state possesses has been declared a wildlife reserve. Around 30% of the total land area of Suriname is protected by law as reserves. Other attractions include plantations such as Larvik, which is situated along the Suriname River. This plantation can be reached only by boat via Domburg, in the north-central Wanaka district of Suriname. Crime rates continue to rise in Paramaribo and armed robberies are not uncommon. According to the current U.S. Department of State travel advisory at the date of the 2018 report's publication, Suriname has been assessed as Level 1, exercise normal precautions. 94. Landmarks. The Cathedral of St. Peter and Paul in Paramaribo. The Jules Weidenbosch Bridge is a bridge over the River Suriname between Paramaribo and Meerzorg in the Kumvena district. The bridge was built during the tenure of President Jules Albert Weidenbosch, 1996–2000, and was completed in 2000. The bridge is 52 meters (171 feet) high, and 1,504 meters (4,934 feet) long. It connects Paramaribo with Kumvena, a connection which previously could only be made by ferry. The purpose of the bridge was to facilitate and promote the development of the eastern part of Suriname. The bridge consists of 2 lanes, 1 lane each way, and is not accessible to pedestrians. The construction of the streets Peter and Paul Cathedral started on 13 January 1883. Before it became a cathedral, it was a theatre. The theatre was built in 1809 and burned down in 1820. Suriname is one of the few countries in the world where a synagogue is located next to a mosque. 95. The two buildings are located next to each other in the center of Paramaribo and have been known to share a parking facility during their respective religious rites, should they happen to coincide with one another. A relatively new landmark is the Hindu Arya Dewakar Temple in the Johann Adolf Pengelstraat in Wanaka, Paramaribo, which was inaugurated in 2001. A special characteristic of the temple is that it does not have images of the Hindu divinities, as they are forbidden in the Arya Samaj, the Hindu movement to which the people who built the temple belong. Instead, the building is covered by many texts derived from the Vedas and other Hindu scriptures. The beautiful architecture makes the temple a tourist attraction.